And when we were small kids, my dad would take us out of school to go pick cotton. School would start September the 1st, and then the cotton season started September the 15th. So we go to school for about 2 weeks, and then we had to go out, and until the cotton season was over, we used to pick cotton and put little bundles on the ground. Then when they were picking, come over there and they pick them up. But they said I was real little in the cotton fields. I grew up in the farms. When we go back to school, they wouldn't take you in until you were 7. Now you couldn't go to school before you were 7 years old. If you were, say, 6 and a half, the time that school started, they still wouldn't take you. You had to be 7. And so I started school after I was 7. Anyway, my dad would take us out of school, and we had to pick until the season was over. Then we go back to school. But what I used to do in the later years, not when I was a kid, but I used to ask the teachers, because I knew what I passed to another room, and I knew the teacher was going to be, because they would be in school that day, and I go talk to them to issue me the books. Issue me the books for the following year, and then during the summer and our vacation, I would study my books. I go through my books and by myself, and so because I would be embarrassed to go to school and not know what they're talking about, so I had to be familiar with the books I used to study. And not that I want to brag or anything, but I made better grades than some of the kids that went all year long, all the season. And the teacher would, they tell me about it. I thought it was real neat. And in those years, the government wouldn't. Nowadays, you couldn't take a kid out of school to go work. You had to go to school. But those years, they didn't care. So that's how come they take us out of school. There were some kids that came from Oklahoma, and they were about my age, a couple maybe younger and some older. But there were 2 of them, actually 3 of their brothers. I used to play with them, and they would teach me. They would teach me I would ask them how to say this, or what is this, and by the time I went to school, I knew enough to get by. Enough English, although I still don't know it. But because some kids would go start fresh, they didn't know what the teacher was talking about or nothing. They didn't know English, and gradually the teachers would teach them, and because there were a lot of Mexican kids, very few Anglos in school. They're mostly Mexican kids. I don't remember having a Mexican teacher. They're all American girls. There were actually 12 of us kids, because Mike, my brother, was born after I left. I was in Phoenix, in Arizona, when Debbie was born. But there was just 12 of us, and my daddy's just working, and it was hard. And we weren't hurting for food, but we were hurting for a lot of other stuff, When I was in the 7th, I went to the 7th, I passed to the 8th, but then I didn't, I think I was 15, and I just couldn't couldn't go because I didn't feel that I had good clothes and good shoes and stuff. Yeah, I had a pair of boots that I bought at Tony Lama for $12, real fancy, my cowboy boots. And but still, when you have good clothing, and I felt that I need to go and find a job to to help my dad. And when I was working in Phoenix, I would send him all the money. I just dropped out. I just went to the 7th grade. I passed to the 8th. And you probably can see one of the report cards over here that I passed to the 8th, but I didn't go back. I just went to Phoenix to work over there. I never got a GED, but I did study by myself. I always study. I used to keep a Spanish, English, Spanish dictionary in my pocket. And when I write a letter, if I didn't know a word, I wouldn't write it. I would have to look it up in the dictionary. So I didn't try to mess up on my letters that I wrote. I had to always make pretty good grades considering. And where there's no grades on my report card just means that we were out of school working.